So namaste, morning to all here now and who are watching later. As I was just saying, this is our last of the 6 weeks of Fear as Friends. So we've got there. I really hope that some of it's stuck. You know, we start the thing quite strongly and then we sort of shift away, we just move into it. So I'm hoping that you're still sort of weaving in some of the lessons and ideas that are woven in early into the series, and then we just pattern it in ourselves. So I hope you have still been, you know, feeling into fear. And now as we're coming out of a fear state, and it does feel like we are really coming out of a fear state now, just to be aware of the residual stuff that is still being processed and going on within us. And that now that we're beginning to see the light and the way forward again, it's interesting to just keep watching that sense of fear, because it might be old fear that is no longer relevant to where we're at. So just to keep a little close eye on that, even as we segue out of the theme of fear, I would suggest that you just keep a little bit of an eye on that through awareness, through contemplation, through witnessing, and just to allow your own inner wisdom and intuition to guide you through talking that through and assessing what the message of fear is for you, and whether it's a relevant message or whether it's an old message that is not relevant to where we're at anymore. So we want to start looking forward, to start planning a little bit more. It's still a little tricky to plan, but we can start having some little ideas, little like sneaky ideas, maybe some little sneaky plane journeys somewhere, or, you know, but we still have to be a little careful because things are still not so sure. But so that's just that idea of checking in with the fear, whether it's a relevant fear for what is actually happening in the moment or in that stage, or whether it's something that has passed, because now we are now through the other side of the porthole, of the wormhole, of that paradigm shift that I mean, obviously a paradigm shift takes a long time to get through, really, with some clarity. But we are no longer just about to, it's just happening. It's happened. We're done. We're through. Now the changes of new way of existing need to be put in place. So envision what you're wanting and think fresh. Don't think old, because old is no longer going to work. The old ways of being are done. So even if it feels a little too soon, we need to start stepping into that frame of mind and that approach. So with that in mind, though, we've taken a lot in this last year, and even in the last, you know, month. Let's start lying. Who wants to be upright at this point? Not me. So let's come to lie on our back. I hope my mic works well today as well. I really apologize for last week. Seems to be a little bit of a screw up, so hopefully it's working well today. Okay, so feet on the floor, back, and I'm going to suggest, if it feels nice for you, you can take the hands in our little cactus style over the head, elbows bent. It just opens the chest a little bit more, so we are trying to be a little more open-hearted now. That real deep contraction is over, and now we need to start opening up again. So let's just gently open up in the heart area, and that can be helped by this cactus arms. If for whatever reason in your shoulder or back this doesn't sit well, please just take the hands alongside the body with palms facing up, and that will be fine. Take a couple of deep breaths, perhaps sighing out through the mouth. And repeat it a couple of times. Let the body begin to really rest and relax. And just to get yourself right into. Anna, hang on. That doesn't matter. Okay. As you begin to settle both with the breath and the body, let your mind sink back into itself. Just let the mind also spread back in through, perhaps it's a sense of spreading back, melting into the brain. So mind, the thinking mind, can have this sense of flittering about. It's quite mobile. Doesn't necessarily always feel just in the head, but perhaps flittering about around the head, to really allow the mind and any thoughts to drop back into the brain and to melt back into the membrane of that muscle. Is the brain a muscle? I have no idea. But having this melting feeling with our thoughts, so we can have this sensation of all the energy dropping back in to the body. Witnessing and just feeling into then the inner body. As that mind quietens, it gives us a better opportunity to more clearly assess and see what's going on inside. You may notice something physical that is being brought to your attention, but equally it might be energetic, emotional, or mental. Don't get caught up or too caught up in anything that's presented to you. Sort of like a feigning interest. It's a very mild curiosity. And then just a little pull back, a little step back to feeling a little more openly, a little more expansive into the fullness of your being, of your body. And then something else might come to your attention, and then we gently observe that, acknowledging without diving into or getting caught up in whatever presents. And then you might like to begin to reclaim your energy. You can begin to deepen the breath. And as you do, have this imagination, this thought, idea, or image, feeling that you're calling back and drawing in all your lost energy from over the weekend, week, and month. Let's You could go beyond that if you like, but it might be a bit of a big ask. Let's see how you go. Draw it in with the inhalation. Suck it back into the body. And as you exhale, just let it compound that, just really soaking into the cells, even soaking into the mystery body, the invisible, the formless. As the energy is invisible in itself, that might make some sense to you. So just repeat the imagery, the visualization or whatever, a few times until you really feel a sense of fullness. Perhaps the energy around your body and within it feels a little more sparkly, a little fuller. And perhaps you can feel a little more at ease. Once again, we can perhaps just come back to experiencing the inner Baba feeling state. And just have a little cursory search for any sense of underlying fear that is within you today. Notice the quality of that energy, whether it's intense or mild, and where it sits in the body. And just welcome it, just accept it. And perhaps you would like to breathe into the area, into any physical feeling of that fear, as a way of sending it love and compassion, some understanding, and even gratitude. And then letting all of that go as you're ready. You might like to start with simply allowing the head to roll from side to side. And then you might like to allow the knees to drop down to one side. Maybe just take a breath or two with the knees dropped. You can let the head sink to the other side. And use an inhalation as you're ready to come up. The knees, the head, and drop down to the opposite side. Oh, big click for me. So just let everything relax and release. And then let's just repeat it once or twice more in your own time, but you might like to flow from side to side rather than hold. Or you might like to drop and hold. So just tuning into your own wisdom. to see what's required for you to bring yourself in better placement. So after perhaps 1, 2, or 3 rounds, depending on the speed in which you're moving, bringing your knees back to the center. Just gently press the feet into the floor and just enough to lift the hips, just enough to lift the sacrum off and just swing the chin, the hips from side to side. And then bring the knees into the chest and give them a little squeeze. You might like to even lift the head, the nose towards the knees and give another little squeeze. And then just lay the head back down and rotate the ankles a few times in each direction. Try and get some of those clicks and sticks out, a little bit of stickiness. And then we're going to drop the feet back to the floor, stretch the arms and head over in opposite direction. Oh, this is just like waking up from bed. It really feels like that to me. Having that really nice stretch into the feet and hands, and then take your feet and take both of them over to the left-hand side. Grab your right wrist with your left hand and take your whole torso, or the top torso, to the left-hand side. And I've got my feet crossed here. Take the right ankle over the left on top of the left. So we can really begin to open up that whole right gate of the body. My left foot can press into my right, taking it over to the left-hand side or toward the floor. And that way we really open up that stretch along the outer edge of that right leg. Take a nice deep breath or 2. And then release the torso back to the center. Get comfortable. Take the right leg, step it all the way over to the right side, and then take the left leg and cross it over the the right ankle. Take the right hand and grab the left wrist now. Lift your torso over to the left-hand side. Get comfortable. You're going to make the adjustments, and then you can begin to pull with that right foot pressing into the left, drawing it towards the floor over the right-hand side, and the right arm or hand just gently stretching through that left arm, opening the whole left gate of the body. Taking some nice breaths there. Enlivening. And then release through the top half of the body and then unhook the legs. Bring them back to the center. You might like to place the feet back on the floor, have a little wriggle. Anything that feels nice for you at the moment, you can do for yourself rather than me inform you or tell you. See what's going to work for you. And then when you're ready, you can draw the legs into the body. You can lift a couple of times, knees into the torso. And then roll all the way up. Maybe you pull back and then all the way up. And then we're just going to come onto our hands and knees. Got what I was doing for a moment. So I'll be playing with the camera a few times. My cat is really enjoying the yoga, so she'll probably come and visit several times. She's so funny. I haven't told you, I have a new addition to the family. I'll have to tell you that later. Okay, so hands come in under the shoulders and the knees are under the hips and the feet can be in line. Toes tucked or untucked. I don't really mind, just choosing for yourself this morning. So let's just start with a nice little wag of the tail, a little squeezing shoulder and hip towards each other from one side and then to the next. And then change it out for a more fluid state. Really swaying the hips from side to side with a little less movement through the shoulders. As if we are, I don't know, I feel a little bit more like a mermaid this morning. So get your mermaid on. And just swim through. Releasing out that tension through the hips, the buttocks, the spine, shoulders. And you can then begin the churning, the cat churning, where we rotate the head and the hips at the same time in the same direction. Like we're a pig on a spit, which is a really awful image, but it is, I should just say rotisserie. Go to the rotisserie. And just enjoy the sensations and the learning that we get here. Change the direction when you're ready. Just be really observant to the experience the spine is having, that whole torso region. And then as you're ready, coming back to the center, keeping it fairly simple for now. Let's take an inhale and use the exhalation to drop the head and tail, rounding through the spine. Push a little forward as you press the hands, fully into the floor. And then inhale to roll up, roll the sit bones up, drop the ribs, lift the chest and chin. And then exhale, draw the navel in, begin to drop the head and tail. Tail and head is usually the order. And then really press the hands into the floor as you gently push forward, releasing the head completely. And then inhale, rolling up again. Rolling the sit bones, lifting the chest and chin. Maybe you want to press the hands into the floor as we hold here and just gently pull back, buttocks towards the heels. And you don't actually go anywhere, but you feel the opening in the front body as you do that. And then exhale, coiling in, drop the tail and head round through, release that, really press the floor away and just press a little forward so the shoulders come a little bit more over the wrists. And then exhale to release. Let's walk that on. Let's do a little bit of elbow dipping. So we're going to drop the right elbow down towards the floor, towards our knee, and the left elbow pokes out in front of us, away from us. And then we inhale, lift back up onto both, and then exhale the opposite. Left elbow down, right elbow out. Inhale up and exhaling down. And just do it slowly and methodically with great awareness into all the different sensations and feelings that arise in the different parts of the body. And we finish on the opposite side that we started from. So that's the left elbow dipping. Then bring your left hand, so the back of the hand comes to the floor. Keep pressing firmly into the right hand in support, but just allowing a little bit of a stretch in the front of that left wrist, hand and arm. Then slowly peel it off and just give it a little bit of a wriggle, a little bit of a shake. And then swap it out. Right hand comes, so the back of the hand comes to the floor. Nice pressure into the left hand in support, so we don't want the weight to go in there. It's just a stretch. Breathing. And then slowly come out of there and just give it a little bit of a shake. A little bit of a wriggle. And then walk your hands a little further and out in front of you so they're going towards the top of your mat. Begin to draw the lower navel in towards your spine. Roll the sit bones up so we're coming into an arching in the back. Toes are going to be tucked at this point if you haven't already got them there. And begin to drop the heart down while still rolling the sit bones up. We're going to try and keep the hips over the knees. So the hands might need to just stretch a little bit away more as you drop the heart to the earth. This might be a little strong first thing in the morning, so you could then inhale and tuck the tail under, draw the head in towards the belly, rounding like a little half mini lift, even a quarter lift rather than a half lift. And exhale, opposite again, roll the sit bones up, drop the heart down. Perhaps the forehead comes to the floor or even the chin for you that are more open. And once again, coil back in, tuck the tail, draw the head in towards the belly, lift and round a bit. And then use an exhalation to create the opposite shape as you drop your heart to the earth. And then if you can, just stop here for a few breaths, pressing the hands, the arms into the earth in support, opening that heart towards the earth and the deepest gratitude that you can muster this morning for all she provides. And just allowing the underarms to slowly awaken and open. The belly is drawn in towards the body, in towards the spine. And then we're gonna come out of there, a little coiling in action. You might even want to lift off the elbows for a moment before dipping them back down to the earth. And we're going to come into the forearm plank. So you can tuck the toes, straighten one leg and then straighten the other. And here we are in our forearm plank. Take a half lift, inhale, lift the heels high, lift the hips high and drop the head low. And then exhale, drop the hips down in line with the shoulders and heels as you lengthen up. Inhale, lift heels and the hips, drop the head in. And exhale, straighten it out from heels to head. And lastly, inhale once again, lifting up, strong I know, and exhale, coming down into plank and then knees, thighs, hips, belly, hallelujah, we're back on the earth. You can untuck your toes, flatten the feet to the earth, widen your elbows, and just begin this little smoochy figure of 8 with the shoulders so we can really nourish through the shoulders. And then just come for a moment to a place of comfort with the Sphinx pose. Perhaps you'd like to have your elbows nice and wide and in front of the shoulders, not behind them. And just a little pressing of the sacrum down towards the floor as you just begin to gently press the elbows into the floor. And we're not going to pull them so much back this time. Maybe you want to pull them out towards the side, just a tiny bit, just so you feel like you're giving yourself plenty of room and space to just do. Take one more breath there as you really activate the back muscles, pushing the sacrum down towards the floor, but drawing in and up of that lower belly. And then press the hands into the floor, lift the elbows and widen them, take a cheek to the floor. And just, you know, either a couple of breaths in stillness, or you might like to roll out through the shoulders here in that figure of 8, even while we lie down. I find that Sphinx pose is quite strong on the shoulders and neck, so I often like to do that. Let's do a little shoulder stretch just to get rid of any other tension that may have created. By taking the right hand out along the floor at the height of the shoulder, left hand comes in under the left shoulder, lift that left foot and then roll over to the right hand side. So that left foot can come to the floor behind you, that right shoulder is getting a really nice stretch, the left elbow is in line with the shoulder and wrist. And just take a couple of breaths here, seeing what's available for you. And then take the inhalation as a preparation, the exhalation as a moving out, just a slow descent back, belly to earth. And then we swap the arms out, right hand comes in under the shoulder, left arm lengthens out along the floor, left leg comes to lie back down, right leg lifts up and takes you over to the left hand side. And see if you can find the floor with that foot and just begin to breathe, lean back a little into it perhaps, seeing what's available. Don't overdo anything today. Working with a really soft and gentle approach as we crawl our way to the finishing line of 2020. So rolling back onto your belly slowly. Hands can come in under the shoulders. Feet placed back down on the earth. Toes reaching away. And take an inhalation where you just lift up using the belly and the back muscles. So baby, baby, Bhujangasana. And then push back on the exhalation. You might like to walk your knees in just a little bit as you sit back onto your heels. And you can take a moment there. Just got to keep adjusting my camera. I'm finding this new way with the trying to get the camera right. So just sitting back on the heels, lengthening the spine up towards the sky. Finding your breath, finding your comfort, and finding your peace, your ease. And we come into our affirmation series once again. So we're going to turn the palms out and inhale, reach out and up. And as you exhale, I reach with trust. Exhale down with your arms coming forward. I go forward with enthusiasm, lifting up and into a baby back bend of your choice. I open myself to possibilities. Pull back, buttocks to heels. I bow to wisdom. We come into up cat on the inhale. I breathe in energy, down cat with the tongue poking out. I release my fears. Inhale to welcome change, up cat. And I surrender to peace, child's pose, hands alongside the feet. Inhale and open up, reach out. I feel joy and inspiration. And as you exhale, coming back to seated position, and I honor life. And just take a moment to let those affirmations sink in, to be absorbed into your subconscious, into the cells of your body, into the subtle anatomy, perhaps around the body. And then we release the hands alongside again and inhale. Reach with trust. We're not doing the affirmation. We're going to step that left leg forward. coming into the lunge, bringing the left hand onto the knee, the thigh, and inhale, reach up with the right hand into our crescent moon, dipping down through the hips, whoops. And then as we exhale, coming out of there and dropping the hand back and down. And then inhale, pressing that back foot in a little to support the hips coming forward. Open the heart, lift the arm. And exhale, just gently pull out of there as the arm comes back and down. And then inhale, rising up, dipping down. And exhale, last round as we bring the arm back. And this time, let's hold. We're going to inhale, lift the arm up, lift the heart from the belly, but drop the hips down. And if you like, you can bring that left arm to join. Squeeze those hips together and both feet pressing firmly into the floor. Take one more breath. You might even be able to lift your head. And as you exhale, bring both arms wide and bringing the hands beside the foot. And you could have some blocks here under the hands if you needed to. And then we inhale and pull back. You can drop the nose in towards the knee to start with, but maybe we just keep the toes pointing at this point. And then exhale and rock forward. Open the heart and lift a little. Lift your gaze a little. Direct, so it's directly forward. And then inhale, pull back once again. Maybe dropping the head towards the knee as if bowing to it. And exhale to rock forward once again. Open the heart and lift your gaze. And last one as we pull back. Inhale, pull back carefully. Let's keep looking forward now as the hip begins to really pull back. Let's look forward. Keep the spine nice and straight. And now we're feeling this nice stretch in the back of the leg and trying to also lengthen through the spine. Just keep a couple of breaths there as we allow the body to find a sense of ease and relaxation into that. Take an inhale, use the exhalation to come forward with the knee falling out to the side. So we're sort of coming on to the little toes side of the foot as that left knee falls out to the side and we cross it over at the ankle. We do with the wrist, of course, is what I meant there. So you can take a couple of breaths. Yes, I love that, Susie. Just keep looking nice and, you look really nice and lifted. We want this nice lift in the chest and this sort of sense of buoyancy, this sense of hope. We worked with hope a couple of series ago, but hopefully we haven't lost that sense of what we gained in that series. And then let's just half pull out. You could have a block under this right hand if you felt that that was going to be useful. We step it out a little further away than we have. We let this foot stay nice and wide, and we're going to tuck the back foot and lift the back knee. We're then going to step that right foot a little bit more into the center line. So we can drop that outer edge of the foot to the floor, but as you do that, I want you to really carefully do that. I don't want the ankle to end up all flaccid and overstretched and just leaning into the floor. We don't come onto the ankle. We start kicking into the leg. We really firm up this leg, and then take the razor edge of your foot to the floor, not the ankle. You're really pushing into that foot as if it's pushing up against the floor or the wall. You can walk that left foot out a little bit more if you need a bit more room, but have it so the foot is flat on the floor if you can. I think that'll be helpful. And then if you've got it, you can lift up that left elbow and maybe that left arm, and here we are in some sort of side plank pose. You could be down on the elbow, and you could be down on, you could be, right here with that leg on the floor and the elbow, if that works for you, Robin. If it doesn't matter. All right, so We might have been there long enough. Take one more breath. And as we exhale, turn everything back into the center line. So we're in our runner's lunge. Oh, let's just go for it. I didn't think we'd be going here, but let's lift off. Inhale, reaching out and up, arms overhead. Exhale, let's take our James Bond mudra and slice the air in front of us. And then inhale, ride it up through the center line. Once again, firm in the feet. And exhale through the center. One more, I'm just going to change my camera position again. Inhale the arms up and exhale, slicing through the center. Inhale, coming up and just holding there for a moment. Just sitting into it comfortably, pushing back into that back leg so we have this sense of evenly distributed effort. And then maybe an inhalation as you look up, maybe not. Drop the hips down as you do that, suck in that lower belly. And as you exhale, come slowly down, hands back down to the earth. So we're going to step that right foot back into the center a little bit. And we're going to turn out once again onto that. So if this is no good for you, Robin, please drop that knee to the floor. You might be able to do something like this. Otherwise, we're all going for it. We're going to drop that foot out to the floor. This might be enough for you, or you might grab hold of that ankle and see if you can lift it up and then either step it in front, behind the other foot, or on top of the other foot, and then see if you can lift your elbow or your arm. Breathing. One more breath there, and then exhale, slowly, 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 hand to the floor, turn up so you're in plank, and then push back into downward facing dog, where you can go, hallelujah. Maybe a little wag of the tail. Maybe you're not that excited about what happened, but you're quite pleased with your efforts. Even if you didn't manage the whole thing, you can still be pleased with the effort. And then we can simply drop our knees to the floor. Walk our hands a little further away from out in front of the shoulder. Begin to suck the lower belly in as you roll the sit bones up, and then we can begin to offer the heart to the earth. Press those hands into the floor for support. If you need this roll, half rolling up again and exhaling to offer it down again, please take that pulsations. Otherwise, you can just rest back into Anahata Asana. For a couple of breaths. And then we inhale, half lift. Maybe the elbows need to come off for a moment before you transition back to elbows on the floor. Tucking the toes under and straightening the legs out, elbow plank. One pulsation here as we inhale, lift the heels and hips as we drop the head. And as you exhale, slowly lengthen out into elbow plank, and then take the knees, thighs, hips, and belly to the earth. You might like to open those hands up nice and wide so they're coming towards either corner of your mat. And then inhale and a gentle push up as we come into seal pose now. And take one more inhale when you're ready and use the exhalation to carefully lay yourself back down. And you can let the elbows come wide and just place the opposite cheek to the floor that you perhaps used the last time we did this. 3 deep breaths into your body. perhaps into your back. And then we'll stretch up that left arm out along the floor at the height of our shoulder. We'll take the right hand underneath the right shoulder. And we lift that right leg and take it over to the left. You might need a slight lift up to lift the torso, the left side of the torso onto the floor. If you can, the right foot finds the floor behind you. That right elbow can be nice and high. It's in line with the shoulder and wrist, making a T square or a half square. Breathing, relaxing into it. Take an inhale as you're ready. And as you exhale, slowly find your way belly back to earth. Be super careful in these transitions, particularly out of our deeper stretches. Right hand lengthens along the floor at the height of your shoulder as the left hand comes in under the shoulder. We pick up our left foot and we take it behind us, over to the right. See if we can find the floor. And simply relax and breathe, exploring what's possible for you here. No need to overdo anything. So take one more breath and use the exhalation to really carefully come back down onto the floor. Leg will straighten out. We make sure we feel straight and aligned in the whole body. Hands come in under the shoulders, and we can take a little baby Bhujangasana. So inhale and rise. Perhaps a little bit more support from the hands here to get a little bit more height. Maybe not, just depends on you. And then exhale, push back. And let's just draw those knees in a little bit so we can come and sit down on our haunches. Taking a breath there. Turning the palms out as we come into our affirmation series. I reach with trust. Exhale to come forward. I go forward with enthusiasm. Inhale, I open myself to possibilities. Exhale, I bow to wisdom. Inhale, okay. I breathe in energy. Exhale, down cat with the tongue. I release my fears. Inhale, up cat. I welcome change. Sit back, child's pose, and I surrender to peace. Reaching up, I feel joy and inspiration. Excuse me, and a big sneeze. And hands to heart, buttocks to heels, and I honor life. So letting it soak in, feeling the quality of the energy as we move through class, changing and morphing. Sort of feels like it can really clean out the energy system, right? There's this purification, this cleansing process that happens through our practice. So witness it if that's what if you sense into it, see if that is true for you. Hands can release down to the sides, and we inhale and reach once again with trust. And this time we bring our hands down to our hips as we bring that right leg forward, and then bring the right hands to the knee. And as we drop the hips forward, the arm lifts on the inhalation. And as we exhale, we can just pull out of there a little bit as the arm comes back and down. And then inhale, Anjaneyasana, our beautiful crescent moon. Perhaps almost tracking the hand as it lifts with the eyes. And exhale, coming back down and perhaps a little bit out of there. And then inhale, rising. And exhale, release. And inhale, rising once again, we come to the hold. So begin to press both of those feet firmly into the floor and squeeze your hips together. Lift into the lower belly as you take an inhalation. You can lift the right arm and they can come together. Press the feet into the floor. Squeeze your hips together. Lift from the belly into your heart and into your hands. And take an inhalation and maybe lift the gaze skyward. And as you exhale, arms wide, come down to the floor with control. If you need blocks under the hands, please take it. Otherwise, inhale, pull back with the right hip as the knee drops towards, the nose drops towards the knee. And as you exhale, leaning forward, lengthening out from that back foot all the way to your crown, lifting your gaze as you drop your hips. And inhale, pull back, nose to knee, hip to heel. Well, that's the direction, And as you exhale, walking forward, letting that back leg support you, and the unraveling, the unfurling of the spine and your gaze. And lastly, inhale. As you begin to pull the head back, begin to resist that rolling, that coiling, and look forward. And begin to lengthen through the spine now. And just keep pulling back into that right hip as you keep a steady gaze forward. One more breath there. And as you exhale, come forward and let the knee drop out to the right-hand side, crossing the ankle and the wrist. So the hand doesn't move, just the knee drops out and we come forward. If it's not working, for whatever reason, you can have a little pulsation, a little couple of back and forth. I know you look a little unhappy with this. Never mind. We can, so don't push too hard. Have a little pull back and a little play and see if there's some little adjustment. And then we pull back and out of there. And we're going to tuck the back toes, place that left hand a little bit further out and away, lift the back knee, so we're already half there now. We're going to step that left foot back into the middle lane a little bit more, so we can get firm through this left leg and begin to roll it out onto the outer edge of that foot, not the ankle. Really be firm in the leg. You might want to walk out this right leg a little bit more. If you're there, if you're ready to go, just go for it. But some of us will still need a bit more time. You can lift that right arm up. If this isn't working for you, of course, that back knee can be dropped. Yeah, there's lots of different ways to do this. I could give Robin you something completely different, but let's leave it where it is there. That's okay. You're doing great. Reaching, Reaching the arm up if you like. And then slowly bringing the arm forward and down. And as you do, swivel all the way so you come forward again. It's prepare for lift off. So make sure your feet are in comfortable alignment. Press both feet into the floor and inhale, reach all the way up. Arms coming overhead. And they interlace into Agni Mudra or James Bond Mudra over our head. Use an exhalation to slice the air out in front of you with your focused mudra, your fire mudra. Inhale, let it rise up over your head like a champion. And as you exhale, cutting through, slicing down. And lastly, inhale, reaching over and up. As you reach the peak of that exhale, just drop in, drop the hips down, hold here. Find a sense of ease and comfort even in the effort that's required to remain here. And then you might have one more breath where you can inhale and begin to look up, really press into that back leg and bring the front knee a little more forward. Lift through the belly in order to support it. And as you exhale, release the arms and slowly begin to come down, either hands on either side of the foot. And then if you need to, you could step that foot in again, the left foot into the center line, come out onto the razor edge. You might like to just remain here, drop the back knee to the floor, or do any variation that we've done over the weeks, or grab hold of that ankle, maybe begin to lift it and then release it so you can stack one foot over the other, or maybe in front or just behind the foot in order to give yourself a little bit more support. That right arm may come up. Maybe just the elbow comes up. That's okay. Reaching. Lift the hips away from the floor. One more breath there. And as we exhale, slowly bringing the hand down, we come into plank. And then you can push back into dog. And just take a little time for yourself. Wag it out. And you can have a little play, just really feeling into your whole body. And seeing how it wants to move, how it wants to stretch, how it wants to breathe, how it wants to be. And then I'd like you to walk your hands into your feet. So we're coming into a Uttanasana. Sorry, my cat's trying to eat and pull up my carpet. We're going to place the hands underneath the feet. So the palm of the hand is touching the sole of the foot, the back of the hand onto the floor. If you can, tuck them in enough so the tops of your toes can meet the crease of your wrist. Bend your knees as much as you need to in order to achieve that. You might like to do a little half lift once you've got yourself super comfortable. Spread those toes out across the hands, press them in. And then using an exhalation, you might be able to bend your elbows and just completely release the body over the hips. Nice, easy breath here. Half lift once again, lift up, so you really have to press your toes and feet into the hands to keep yourself in place. And then just release. So the hands come from underneath the feet out. We drop down onto our knees and then come to kneel. once again. We have one more affirmation sequence to go. So just find your steady breath, nice and relaxed through the body. And now I'm just going to say the affirmation, and hopefully you remember when to inhale, exhale, and what the pose is. We've been doing it for 6 weeks now, so hopefully you have a little bit of a memory bank there. So turning the palms up. I reach with trust. I go forward with enthusiasm. I open myself to possibilities. I bow to wisdom. I breathe in energy. I release my fears. I welcome change. And I surrender to peace. I feel joy and inspiration. And I honor life. So once again, releasing the hands. Inhale, reaching with trust all the way up. And this time, as you exhale, just both hands come to the floor. Into cat pose, tuck the toes under. And as you exhale, you can lift the hips high and push back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. You could pedal the feet a couple of times here. Get super comfortable. And for some of you who are having shoulder problems and things like that, I invite you to bring the right knee to the floor, swing out that right heel foot, and just come into something like this side gate pose like this. And you can do that on the other side when we come to the other side. So, but you don't have to go into it too fast because we're just coming into the other one. We're going to inhale and rock forward into plank. And then we're going to turn both our feet out and get light in the left hand. So from here, see if you can just begin to lift the left foot in just a fun expression. Like whatever feels like, I can do this. Reach up and open up in any way that feels nice. And then we'll just slowly come out. So just for you, how that works. Just to finish off our Vasisthanasa practice with a little bit of spontaneous fun. You might not think this is fun at all, and I'm sorry about that. We come back into dog, and then we roll forward into plank. And then you can turn your feet out, either both feet coming together, or just begin to lift that right foot up and maybe bend the knee, maybe just lift the leg if that's better for you. I love the bent knee thing. And just have a little moment of reaching out and just lifting both the arm and the leg. Yes, and that wild dog pose is also a lot of fun to come into from there. So that's the inspiration. Coming back onto all four paws. And then rolling forward into plank. And then slowly dropping down knees. And then suck in the lower belly, bend the elbows in towards the ribs and begin to lower the whole body down to the earth. You can stack the hands and place the forehead down. Toes can tuck in towards each other as the heels fall out. Let me just take a few deep breaths here. You might like to breathe a couple of breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then lastly, we're going to extend that right arm out along the floor, the height of your shoulder. Left hand comes in under the shoulder. Lift the left foot and take it across over to the right. See if you can find the floor and just take a few moments here as you relax into this stretch. And we take the inhalation as a preparation, the exhalation as the execution, the rolling back onto the belly. Swap the arms out, right left arm out, right leg rolls over. Couple of deep breaths. Taking your inhale as a prep. The exhalation to carefully bring yourself back. Belly to earth. Find just a very comfortable way of lying on your belly and then rock the hips from side to side, very rhythmically, very naturally. And then you can just allow that rocking to fade away, to drink the breath in once again. And as you're ready, you can place the hands in under the shoulders and come into a little Bhujangasana of your own. How deep you want to go is entirely up to the body. So listening to what feels right for you, or simply allowing it to express itself. And as you exhale, you can pull back all the way into wisdom pose with the big toes coming together and knees apart. Wriggling your way into comfort as the arms reach out over in front of you with the elbows dropped and everything really relaxed. Some nice deep breaths and maybe some just little adjustments, a little rocking, a little swaying every now and then, perhaps assessing and adjusting as you go. You can bring the hands together into prayer overhead and use an inhalation to bring them over the head towards the back. And maybe back down to the floor. Maybe you have a slightly different way you'd like to express this today. That's okay. Otherwise, inhale and lifting the arms up and over. Thumbs gently touch the back of the neck. Perhaps we can reach the elbows a little further away. And then just releasing the hands so that they can rotate around each other over the head. In both directions, releasing the wrists. And then when you're done, just simply placing the hands back on the earth. You can use an inhalation to carefully come up, swing the feet out to the side, and come to lay back on your back. Going into full circle. Bring the camera a little closer again. So perhaps hugging the knees in, rotating a little through the ankles. You might like to make little circles with the knees, massaging through the lower back, buttocks and sacrum, both directions. And then just placing the feet one by one behind the sit bones. The hands can rest along the floor beside the body with the palms facing down. Find ease, complete ease within before we start. And as you're ready, I'd like you to begin to press the feet into the floor. Lift the hips and peel the spine off the floor. Keep pressing the feet in as the chest begins to puff up towards the chin. And then use an exhalation to roll down vertebra by vertebra, all the way back to the sacrum, to the hips. And then once again, press the feet into the floor, lift the hips and peel the spine. Inhaling as we go, pressing the feet in as we go. Make the peak, find the peak, and then release, rolling back down through the spine to the earth and then the gates. One more round, inhaling, pressing the feet in, rolling up on the spine, lifting, lifting, press the feet in and lift and press the feet in and lift. And now we're going to hold. So you might like to walk your shoulder blades in towards each other just a little bit more. You could interlace your hands underneath, and that might help you roll the shoulder blades in towards each other a little bit more. Press the feet into the floor and just keep lifting a little bit more into the hips. Keep the thighs steady. You want the knees and feet to remain in line with the hips if you can. And keep shooting that tail in between your knees and lifting the chest towards your chin. And then you can slowly begin to release the interlace with the hands if you have it. Shrug the shoulders a little bit so you feel the shoulder blades connect a little more fully with the ground. And then vertebra by vertebra, we can bring the spine back down to the earth. And make yourself comfortable as you arrive. Open the arms up wide with the palms facing down, and then just drop your knees down to the left-hand side. You might like to turn the head to the right, but that's not necessary. The head can just remain where it naturally stands or lays. Take a nice deep breath in, particularly to the right thigh and right side. Use an inhale as you're ready to bring the knees back to the center, and the exhalation as we drop them now down to the right-hand side. Again, just allowing the head to fall perhaps to the left or just remain neutral. Breathe a couple of nice deepened breaths into the left side, the left thigh. And then as you're ready, inhaling back up to the center. Make yourself super comfortable once again, and if you like, we're going to come into shoulder stand. If you don't like, that's okay. You can do bridge again, or you can do Vasisthanasa with the soles of the feet together, and you might like some blocks underneath your thighs to support you. Or you could do Viparita Karani. Perhaps if you have a bolster, you could place it underneath your hips and have the legs just lifted over your hips. If you'd like to practice some form of shoulder stand and you're not already there, then you can roll the legs over your face. My hair gets a little caught, so I always like to try and get all those little bits of hair out of my way. I'm going to roll them up, grab hold of my hips. So the first stage might be Viparita Karani, and I'll just show you this half thing where we drop our hips into our hands. So the hips are off on an angle, and then the legs come up over our head on the opposite angle, making a side V shape. Oh, come on in. If you feel really comfortable there, or you know shoulder stand, you can begin to walk the hands up the back and straighten the legs over the hips. So we come into a more full expression of shoulder stand. Breathing steady. If you like, you can, and you're in shoulder stand, you could bring the soles of your feet together. So we're in like a Vasisthanasa, Supta Konasana style. Knees wide, soles of feet together. And then straighten the legs back out again. And if you can, draw the knees down towards your forehead with the feet clinging towards the buttocks. If the knees can rest on the forehead, great. If not, they can just hover over the forehead. And the feet are reaching back towards the buttocks. Take one more breath there, and as you're ready, you can begin to slowly roll out of there. Straighten the legs out over your head as you begin to draw the hips back towards the ground, as if we can vertebra by vertebra begin to bring the body back to the earth. You might like to place your hands just under the buttocks in our little T shape, the thumbs coming in towards each other and the fingers pointing away. And as we begin to drop the legs down, you might even need to put them on the floor first. Let's see how you go. We can reach them away from us, and at the same time begin to press into our elbows and lift our chest off the floor. The legs can either remain hovering off on an angle with the top of the head to the floor, or you can drop the legs all the way to the floor and keep pressing more into the elbows. We don't need to hold there long before you release out of there. And any little thing that you now need to do to seal the deal, to finish the class in perfection, then please take a moment to do that. And when you're ready, you simply come into Shavasana. So just as you come into Shavasana, when you're ready, please take your time, do what you need to do. A twist would be nice, I agree. Just make sure you lay your body down nice and evenly and carefully. Also, it's a bit cooler this morning once again. So you might like a little something covering you. You might like to take a few hard breaths These nice deep inhalations through the nose and a slow sigh out through the mouth. You could repeat it 2 or maybe even 3 times. And let it drop you in. Follow the breath into the body. Relax the eyeballs into their sockets. Release any tension in the jaw. And let the tongue soften in your mouth. And then as you completely release and relax all the features of your face, just let that inform and release down throughout the entirety of your body. If you can drop everything, just imagine you can just drop everything. All this holding on, all this trying, this gripping. Just drop it. See, even if it's just an image, this idea of anxiety, fear, or frustration, contraction of the emotional body, to see if you can just drop it. Just let go. Just in a moment, in a breath, in an exhale. And all that mental anxiety, worry, thoughts, uncertainties, gripping. Also imagine you can just let it go. Maybe even this idea like blowing the flower of a dandelion and just blowing it all away. It's releasing it, freeing it, and freeing yourself. And seeing if you can, even just for a millisecond, even just for a moment's experience, drop yourself into this completely formless existence of you, completely free of past experiences, of stories, of labels, and of future plans, of ideas that are coming. Just see if you can drop it all and focus on the formless and free, fresh experience of who you are. rest in that space. Every now and then you might need to come back to what you know, a physical tension, a mental agitation, an emotional grip. But it's okay. Tend to it. And see then if you can drop it again, just release it, let it go, and come back to the essence, the nameless, formless, labelless you. you. And you can see that there's no fear here. There's no agitation here. And know that if you have even the smallest glimpse of this, that this is always within you, always available to you, and is at the foundation of it, your true nature. Breathe in again. Using the inhalation to fill into that space within, that sense of nameless, of formless, of freedom. Let the breath, the conscious breath, fill into all of those areas so that our physical body and our more known body, the name, form, the personality, can keep a little sense of this nameless, formless, free element of ourself. Helping us to go forward with great courage, great faith and trust, and with the clarity to see us through. As you're ready, beginning to find your way out of Shavasana in your own way. Maybe that's through movement, through breath, or through simply rolling onto a comfortable, uninjured side. And we come to sit together to close class. So just making yourself comfortable, bringing yourself into a comfortable seated posture. And we'll close our class or finish here together with our chants. So I'll just pull it up. Screenshot from ages ago now, so it takes a while to find. So you can join in or just enjoy. We'll take a breath together to start. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Palipalayantam Nyayena Magena Mahim Maheshaha Go Brahma Mebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Shanti together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So thank you all for joining me on this journey. And I hope that it's been useful for you in some way, that it's made sense for you in some practical way, and not some just esoteric-y, like formless, what's going on, you know, but that it lands somewhere for you. And I just want to let you know that, you know, it's really close to Christmas now. So, you know, normally I take a week off after 6 weeks, but I think I would like to just push through with another 3 classes. And so I already see some of you have acknowledged that and you've bought a ticket. So thank you so much. But just to make you aware that I'm going to make it a little bit of a themeless 3 weeks so we can just flow with it, you know, go with what is arising in the moment, because as we really get to that end of the year, it's a little hard to know what the energy is going to be like, but just working with going with the flow, with this free form, working moment to moment and assessing and addressing as we discover. So I hope you can join me for that. And then I would really appreciate some feedback, what you would like offered next year. Some of you are not available for personal in-person classes. I'm actually teaching at Expansion Yoga now. So if you are, then you could maybe come along, join there. Otherwise, I'm thinking it would still be nice that I'm going to try and build the online classes on Zoom, because I think they're super duper. So please let me know if that is appealing for you next year. And I've got work going on and I'm going to have to readjust. So next year it might look a little different, but I'd love to hear from you. I maybe make up some sort of a survey questionnaire for you to do, or you can write your thoughts to me. I'm not quite sure how I'll do that. I'll write to you and let you know. So just closing off the recording here now. So thank you all. It's been a real honor, and we shall see you soon. Okay, thank you.